Hey everyone, just doing a quick mic check. Can you hear me okay? Cool. I see the thumbs up. Thanks, Adrian.
Yeah, I could hear you, Sam.
Okay, thanks, Elizabeth. Morning, everybody. I recognize the time is 10:30. I'm going to go ahead and press record and then just pause another minute or two in case I see we've got a few more people joining in. So we'll get started in just a second. Okay, looks like it slowed down a little bit. All right. If I zoom in, you won't know that I'm the only person in this room. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Hope that your Wednesday is off to a good start. Beautiful weather outside. We'll call this meeting to order. The Cape Fear RPO's Rural Technical Coordinating Committee, the RTCC, the TCC. Glad to have you all here. I'm going to start with our, well, slides working, hopefully. Yep. Okay. I'm going to start with the roll call. I'm just going down the voting membership. So when I get to the end, if I didn't call your name, then if you would be so kind as to drop your name and affiliation in the chat, just in case I miss it on my own notes, that'll help me have that for the record. So, Helen Bunch,
Present.
Mo Meehan,
Present.
Matt Kirkland, Nicole Morgan, Jeff Repp, Kelsey Hammond, Bridget Spann, or Dylan Bowen, Robert Lewis,
Here.
Jason Robinson, I know that he's out of town, Josh Ward,
Here.
Virginia Norris,
Present.
Christina Burke,
Here.
Ron Meredith, Jeremy Smith, I see you in the participants, Jeremy, but if you spoke up, I didn't hear it through your mic.
Sorry, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. I hear you. You're
I
good.
don't work in Zoom enough. I'm sorry.
You're totally fine. Rob Taylor, Eric Ritzel.
Adrian's here.
Oh, Adrian, gotcha. Oh, you're both here.
We're both here. I'm just gonna be our rep today.
Gotcha. Adrian, it is. Let's see. Philip Hart, I believe, is out of town today. Nazia Sarter,
Here.
Jim Calvis,
Here.
Greer Templer,
Here.
Elizabeth Tucker,
Here.
Yvonne Hatcher,
Here.
Joy Jacobs,
Here.
Kathy Guidry,
Here.
Stephanie Ayers,
Here.
Sam Boswell is here, Daniel Adams.
Here.
Excellent. Okay, if I didn't call your name, if you would be so kind, drop your name in the chat so I can make sure the meeting notes are accounting for everybody. We got a good crew here today. Thanks for making time on your Wednesday morning for the RPO. Next on the agenda is the review and approval of the agenda. Are there any corrections to make to this? Any comments, questions? If not, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Stephanie Ayers motion.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Elizabeth
Second.
Tucker, second.
I got Elizabeth on the
Either
second.
way.
Any discussion? Okay, I'll roll call it. Helen Bunch,
Yes.
Mo Meehan,
Yes.
Robert Lewis,
Yes.
Josh Ward,
Here.
Virginia Norris,
Yes.
Christina Burke,
Yes.
Jeremy Smith,
Yes.
Adrian Cox,
Yes.
Nazia Sarter,
Yes.
Jim Calvis,
Yes.
Greer Templer,
Yes.
Elizabeth Tucker,
Yes.
Yvonne Hatcher,
Yes.
Joy Jacobs,
Yes.
Kathy Guidry,
Yes.
Stephanie Ayers,
Yes.
Sam Boswell, yes. Daniel Adams.
Yes.
Awesome. That carries. Thank you, everybody. Next item is the review of the minutes from our last meeting, which was September 3rd. Any questions about those minutes? If not, can I have a motion to approve those?
So move.
Okay, motion by Helen,
Second.
second by, was that you, Mo?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Helen Bunch,
Yes.
Mo Meehan,
Yes.
Robert Lewis, Josh Ward,
Yes.
Virginia Norris,
Yes.
Christina Burke,
Yes.
Jeremy Smith,
Yes.
Adrian Cox,
Yes.
Nazia Sarter,
Yes.
Jim Calvis,
Yes.
Greer Templer,
Yes.
Elizabeth Tucker,
Yes.
Yvonne Hatcher,
Yes.
Joy Jacobs,
Yes.
Kathy Gidry,
Yes.
Stephanie Ayers,
Yes.
Sam Boswell, yes. Daniel Adams.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks, everybody. Next on the agenda is public comment. There's no one else here in person. I did not receive any public comment via email prior to this meeting. Is there anyone online who wishes to make public comment at this time? Double check the chat. Okay. Seeing none, we will move forward. The next item on our agenda, there's no action to be taken on this. It's just this is our last TCC meeting of the calendar year. So I want to remind you of the, I guess, membership or voting structure of this committee in terms of appointments and vacancies. So within the TCC, as outlined in the bylaws, we have representation from staff from each of the counties, as well as municipal representatives from each county, as well as a couple other DOT and our MPO partners that we border. However, the municipal representatives serve on 2-year terms. And so we have them staggered. There's 2 municipal representatives per county, as well as alternates for each of those representatives. And what you see on the screen, as well as what was included in your packet, are the municipal reps and their alternates whose term expires at the end of this calendar year, 2025. So at the beginning of 2026, our first meeting of that calendar year, we will be either appointing new or reappointing voting members and alternates for these municipal spots. Okay, you have there, Brunswick County is Mo, and then as an alternate, Nicole Morgan. Columbus County is Jason Robinson, an alternate, Madison Ward, and Pender County Municipal Rep Ron Meredith, alternate Rob Taylor. So I will follow up. Usually what I've done is I'll send an email out to kind of each county as a whole, late December, early January, to see if there are any desired changes. There aren't term limits to this, so it's entirely possible and in many cases common to just renew each of these appointments at our first meeting early 2026. So just putting that on your radar. Any questions at the moment about this?
Sam, I did want to add that this is Ron Meredith. I joined late. I had a meeting that conflicted with this, so I am here.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, Ron. Then, okay, gotcha. So I'll include you on the roll call. And I've got Jeremy as Christina's alternate, but since Christina's here, the reps I'll be calling are Christina and Ron. Thanks for letting me know, Ron. Any other questions about these expiring appointments? Again, we'll follow up on this in the coming months and at our next meeting as well. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat. Good deal. We'll roll along. All right. Next on the agenda is a presentation / action item. Is the Columbus County Comprehensive Transportation Plan, or CTP. As you'll likely remember from our past several meetings, this has been, we've been in the process of having adoptions for this CTP. And so me and Wangu have been attending local councils throughout the county, presenting this plan and seeking local adoption. At this point in the process, we have presented to 9 of the 10 Columbus County municipalities. The sole remaining one is Cerro Gordo, which we will present to tomorrow evening. We had presentations scheduled in October, but the meeting was canceled and so rescheduled for this first week in November. So we'll present to them then. We've also presented to the Columbus County Board of Commissioners just this past Monday night. So far of those 10 agencies, 9 municipalities and the county that we've presented, all have adopted. We're hoping that trend will continue with Cerro Gordo tomorrow night. And the final, I guess, local adoption or endorsement rather is to come from the Cape Fear RPO. And so what I'm going to do now is present to you guys the same thing that we've been taking to each of the local agencies, handle any questions you may have, and then I'll be asking for your recommendation for the TAC to endorse this CTP when they meet next Friday. Okay. So again, as a recap, a CTP is a needs-based, long-range, multimodal transportation plan. So looking at highway projects, rail, public transportation, bicycle, pedestrian, on a long range basis. So the planning horizon for this CTP is 2045, and needs based, looking at things like congestion, safety needs. And the purpose of this, again, as a lot of you will be familiar, we just adopted a Brunswick County CTP about 1.5 years ago, also working on a Pender County CTP. Is to gather a consensus and a shared vision for the transportation network throughout the county. This also fulfills a requirement of state statute, but more than just trying to check that off, we want everybody to be on the same page. These transportation issues and concerns that we all have don't stop at municipal boundaries. It's a shared burden or a shared opportunity, depending on what side of the bed you woke up on this morning. So context of the CTP, you have here kind of start to finish. I'm going to work backwards. So obviously before we can drive on the roads and keep them maintained, we need to build them in the first place. Before we build them, we need to have designed and engineered the project. Before that, we need funding to push the project forward. And before we even know where to go look for funding, where to assign those dollars, we need to have determined what the needs are. And that comes in the long range planning process, which is where this CTP comes into play. So again, we've been stressing this and trying to make it clear that what you see on these CTP documents aren't necessarily specific project designs as much as they are conceptual, but just identifying needs. The project kind of specifying what the projects are comes later in the process. This is identifying where the needs are, where the deficiencies are in the network. There are several more design and review steps and phases to go through before you get to very tangible projects that the dollars get assigned to. Throughout this development, just like with Brunswick and Pender, there's a steering committee made up of municipalities, DOT representatives, the county, the COG. There were opportunities for public engagement. There was a survey a couple years ago. One of the top responses on that survey was that safety is a number one concern. There were multiple public workshops. Once there were some draft recommendations, those were held at the high schools around the county as an opportunity for people to come in and look at those recommendations, provide their feedback. So what I'm going to do now is go through some of the main maps from this plan to again illustrate and tell the story of what the CTP is. You can scan the QR code to get to the link on NCDOT's website where you can get the PDF maps for this. I'm not showing each of the insets. I'm just showing the county view. If at the end anybody has any questions and would like to see one of the insets, I can pull those up. But just letting you know, each of these 7 maps is the full county view. And also, because of the time that this CTP started, those of you in Brunswick and Pender County will notice the formatting of the maps is different. Throughout the process of the Columbus County CTP, DOT altered the format of the maps. So they'll look different, but the intent is the same. So this first map is the base year. The base year data was 2021 data. This is volume and capacity, that combination being a measure of congestion on the road and the existing network. And so what you're seeing here is the main segments approaching capacity or at capacity. You've got the segment of US 701 just north of Tabor City, just south of the kind of combining traffic of 701 and 410, that being over capacity. Also segments of 701 through the heart of Whiteville. And then nearing capacity, you have a stretch of NC 130 going from Whiteville down to the town of Brunswick, as well as a stretch of NC 410 in Chadburn. And we move to the next map. This is the 2045 congestion volume and capacity projections based on historical traffic count data. You're seeing a lot of those same trends. So congestion in Tabor City along that 701 corridor, 410 in Chadburn, again 130 and portions of 701 in Whiteville. And this is after the current improvements or the recent improvements to 701 there in Whiteville, as well as a stretch of NC 87 just north of US 74, kind of just south of the town of Sandyfield in the northeast corner of the county. Many of these segments still you see traffic doubling in some cases across the county, but still not a whole lot of overcapacity segments. And of course that can change. Again, I said this is based on historical traffic count data. You know, any new developments that come in can obviously change that in a heartbeat. But this is taking into account the historical trend. The next map I'll show you is a collection of high frequency crash locations. This data was pulled from 2017 to 2021. And what's been useful in showing, some of the local towns this is to point out, if you look in the top northwest corner of the county, that dark blue circle dot, that's showing a lot of crashes at US 74 and Old Boardman Road, where there is now an overpass and a grade separated interchange. That was not the case at the time of all of those crashes. And that crash data was used to support an improvement there to have a grade separated interchange, thereby making that intersection phenomenally safer. Same deal, opposite end of the county, northeast corner near Sandyfield, intersection of NC 87 and NC 11. That's another grade separation that's underway. Again, responding to these hot spots, these intersections of high frequency crashes. And so this is just another resource that the CTP provides to give us an assessment of, okay, where are these crash locations? Where are the safety concerns? and then the RPO and DOT and you all as part of this group help us look further into how to address those needs, what improvements to pursue, and to request funding for to make the network safer. Okay, starting here, sip water. The last, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4 maps. It's the collection of modal maps. So looking at different modes of transportation and the recommendations there. So this is the highway map. What you're seeing, these color-coded line segments, are facility types. So again, a reminder, these aren't specific projects, but rather a facility type which describes the purpose or suggested purpose of that roadway. So on one end of the spectrum in blue, there US 74, 76, you're seeing recommendations of a freeway. Purpose of the freeway, move a lot of cars and move them quickly. And generally speaking, moving on farther distances. On the opposite end, in black, you have other thoroughfares, major thoroughfares, which not moving as many cars, not moving them at the same speeds, also providing a lot of land access. So you're going to have a lot more, you're going to have side streets, you're going to have driveways, all these different opportunities for people and property along the roadway to be gaining access to that roadway. Again, hence the lower speed, often lower traffic counts. The solid line is existing. Dotted is either needs improvement or a recommended upgrade. And again, this just describing what the recommended purpose of the road, specific design of a particular project is to come later. This next map is public transportation and rail. And what you'll see here, most of the rail, which is the yellow lines, is existing. The one change is a recommendation of extending the rail line from Whiteville to the port at Wilmington. That's been a project on the previous CTP. It's been on DOT and the RPO's radar for several years. And so its inclusion here keeps that, kind of keeps the foot in the door to potentially kind of reestablish that rail line economic development opportunity for Whiteville as a connection to the port at Wilmington. What you see on that dark line on US 74 is an existing regional transit route. And what that is the Greyhound bus route that goes back and forth between Charlotte and Wilmington. There's a stop in Whiteville. And so that's not anything new. That's just shown on the map as an existing service. And then what's in that inset A there in Whiteville is a recommendation of a potential transit route in Whiteville with connections over to Southeastern Community College, which is in between Whiteville and Chadburn. That does not currently exist. Columbus County, just like Brunswick and Pender, is a demand response service, and so there's not any established route. That would be something to explore further down the road. This map is the bicycle map. So in brown, those are on-road bicycle facilities, which would either be a bike lane, a painted or separated bike lane, or also simply a wider paved shoulder. Either taking a 2-foot shoulder, making a 4-foot, or taking a 2 or 3 inch shoulder and giving it 2 feet of space for anybody that's on a bicycle. Within each of the municipalities, some of them have, you can see some yellow dotted lines. Those are multi-use paths. So more than just a sidewalk, but usually an 8 to 10 foot facility that both pedestrians and bicyclists can access. And similarly, the pedestrian map, again, most of these, if not all the improvements, are within municipal boundaries, looking at the sidewalk network, identifying the existing network where there are gaps in the sidewalk network, as well as opportunities for multi-use path improvements. So in terms of the utility of a CTP, obviously we use it here with the RPO, with all of you as part of this committee, in identifying projects for prioritization. In fact, typically is required that projects we submit in prioritization are identified in a CTP or some other long-range plan. We use it as identifying what the needs are and making sure that what's in our long-range plans is matching with what we're submitting for competition for funds. The CTP can also be used in land use decisions or for proof of need, kind of proof of concept for grant opportunities, whether that's something that, you know, a local municipality or a county is pursuing on your own, or whether with assistance from the RPO or the COG. CTP is a good spot to pull identified needs from. And then lastly, NCDOT maintenance opportunities. You know, we'll often consult the CTP. You know, if there's a resurfacing or a repaving, looking at a corridor, checking. You know, one example, checking the bicycle map. Is this an identified regional bike route where perhaps when we resurface this road, we take it, you know, we can widen the shoulders just enough to provide some accommodation for bicyclists, both for their safety as well as the safety of all other road users, kind of allowing that space for everybody to use the facility. So a lot of different ways to implement and use the CTP throughout the transportation planning in the county. With that, I'll pause. Does anybody have any questions? I know for some of, actually, any of you that are in Columbus County, your troopers, you already heard this when I came to your council. Thanks for sitting through it again. Any questions about the Columbus County CTP?
Sam, I don't have any questions, but I think y'all did a great job.
Thanks. Thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, kudos to DOT. This, for anybody who has been here, you know, even longer than I have, you know, this one took a little bit longer than usual. And so it was definitely a good teamwork effort. I think I saw Ken and Clark was on the line. You know, Ken's been a big piece of this over the years, getting this pushed through. Hats off to kind of TPD for helping pass this along through staff changes. And, you know, this one got held up because of COVID. And so a lot of things delayed it. But, you know, a lot of partnership to help.
Yes, Sam, what I was going to say as well, you know, thank everybody that worked on it because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Just like you just referenced going back to COVID. I mean, this thing's been in the works for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Body.
So yes, a big thank you to everybody that's had a part of this. This will be a good one to have fully adopted. Any other questions on the Columbus County CTP? Hearing none, seeing none in the chat. As I mentioned, so DOT requests that the RPOs provide a resolution endorsing the CTP. And so I would request that this body recommend that endorsement for the TAC's consideration next week.
Sam, it's Elizabeth. I make a motion that we recommend the resolution to TAC.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I have a motion from Elizabeth. Do I have a second?
Second, Robert.
All right, I have a second from Robert. Any other discussion? Any other questions? Hearing none, I will roll call it. Helen Bunch,
Yes.
Mo Meehan,
Yes.
Robert Lewis,
Yes.
Josh Ward,
Yes.
Virginia Norris,
Yes.
Christina Burke,
Yes.
Ron Meredith,
Yes.
Adrian Cox,
Yes.
Nazia Sarter,
Yes.
Jim Rupp-Calvis,
Yes.
Greer Templer,
Yes.
Elizabeth Tucker,
Yes.
Yvonne Hatcher,
Yes.
Joy Jacobs,
Yes.
Kathy Guidry,
Yes.
Stephanie Ayers,
Yes.
Sam Boswell, yes. Daniel Adams.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody. I will take this resolution and take this presentation to the TAC. And hopefully by then we'll have Cerro Gordos as well, and we'll be able to move this along. Good deal. Next item on our agenda is consideration of our, I guess, proposed meeting schedule for 2026. This follows the same general format that we do kind of year after year. The format being TCC meets first Wednesday of the month, meetings at 10:30. Obviously on Zoom, if anybody ever wants to attend in person, I have the room reserved. Since it's a public meeting, we want to give a space for the public should anyone choose to attend. But the TCC on the first Wednesday of the month, and then the TAC meets 10 days, 9 days later, 10 days later on that next 2 Fridays later. That's typically the second Friday of the month. Occasionally, that can be the third Friday, depending on wherever the month begins. And we typically have meetings scheduled every other month, with one disruption in the pattern being this meeting in November rather than December. That way we avoid attempting to schedule a TAC meeting on the second or even potentially third Friday of December, nearing the Christmas and New Year's holiday season. So, are there any questions or concerns about this meeting schedule as proposed here? Obviously, as we have in the past, we can make tweaks throughout the year if that's needed. But this gives us a framework to work off, both for my benefit as well as for each of you.
Sam, are we looking at still keeping it at the 10:30 time start?
Yes, ma'am. Does that work for you?
Yes, because we do have a prior meeting, but we're usually out of it, shortly after 10. So this really helps us much more to have it at the 10:30.
Good. Yeah. This year, 2025 was the first year we adjusted that. It used to meet at 10. Now we meet at 10:30. And I think that's worked out fine. I mean, obviously, I'm glad, Helen, that's worked out for Brunswick County folks. Is 10:30 still a workable, agreeable time for the rest of the group?
Good for me.
Works for me.
Is that, yeah.
Yep, works for me.
Works good for Ron.
Okay, good deal. Well, in that case, can I have a motion to approve this meeting schedule, and I'll also run it by the TAC for their dates next week?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Virginia, thank you.
Second.
All right. Any other questions or discussion? I don't see anything in the chat. Okay, I will roll call it. Helen Bunch,
Yes.
Mo Meehan,
Yes.
Robert Lewis, Josh Ward,
Yes.
Virginia Norris,
Yes.
Christina Burke.
Yes.
Ron Meredith,
Yes.
Adrian Cox,
Yes.
Nazia Sarter,
Yes.
Jim Ripcalvis,
Yes.
Greer Templer,
Yes.
Elizabeth Tucker,
Yes.
Yvonne Hatcher,
Yes.
Joy Jacobs,
Yes.
Kathy Guidry,
Yes.
Stephanie Ayers,
Yes.
Sam Boswell, yes, Daniel Adams.
Yes.
Good deal. Thanks, everybody. So you got this. I probably won't send out the calendar invitations for each of these meetings with their Zoom links until January. I want to make sure that we've kind of solidified our roster, so to speak. But once I get to that, either late December, early January, and we've got all of that settled, I'll also send an email letting you know, hey, incoming 6 calendar invites. If you don't get them, or if you don't get some of them, because I know that's happened from time to time, then please let me know so I can resend it to you so that you've got it on your calendar. I feel bad when sometimes those don't show up and then you get blindsided by a, hey, surprise, TCC next week. So I'll give you a heads up when those are going out. And if you don't see 6 of them come in, let me know which ones you're missing and we'll fix that. Okay. So that was the last of our votes and roll calls. I know, disappointing, but now moving into reports. So I've got a couple of things just to run by you, not any action items, but just things that I want to have on your radar so you know what's happening. So the first thing, I sent out this email to some of you a week and a half ago or so, and to others several weeks ago. So NCDOT currently has an open call for pedestrian safety projects, with the deadline being next Friday. So an apology, I misread the eligibility requirements or cutoffs when I first looked at this and thought that only portions of our RPO area were eligible. That wasn't true. Everywhere in the RPO is eligible. So my bad on that. Sorry, that's given some of you a shorter window to work with. But what this call is specifically for low-cost pedestrian projects that can be obligated by the end of June 2026. Okay, DOT has some extra funding available for these types of projects, and crossings, pedestrian signals, maybe a sidewalk, not large segments of sidewalk though. And another thing being trying to avoid right-of-way costs if possible. Again, anything that would keep these projects as low cost as possible to hopefully fund as many of these pedestrian safety improvements across the state as we can. So I sent out an email with a link to, and you've got in your packet some further information about what types of projects to consider. I've spoken with a number of you in the past couple of weeks and made a list of what you would like to submit. You don't need cost estimates. You don't, this is a much more streamlined project submittal opportunity. If funded, NCDOT will administer the projects again to get these improvements put in place, as quickly and streamlined as possible. If you have questions, and we either haven't talked or you want to follow up, for those of you who I have spoken with, then obviously we can do that. We've got till next Friday to do that. Some of you I know are going to submit the projects yourself. If you would like assistance with that, I can also help submit projects. There's no necessarily plus or minus about which one of us submits it. It will be evaluated the same, just whatever is preferable to you, and however I can help. So any questions right now about these safety projects?
Hey, Sam, it's Adrian. I was just going to ask that if anyone is submitting projects, that they just let Division 3 know if those projects are within our boundary area.
Sure.
So that we can just share with our staff, since we'll be administering those,
Sure.
that they should just look out for those and be aware of them.
That's
and then
it,
also,
yeah.
It's good to know that those are needs in the area as well.
Exactly. Great points. Yes. We'll make sure both for, our Division 3 as well as our Division 6 partners, when we've got an idea of all that we're submitting, let's compile that list and we'll make sure that we share that across all kind of partners on this so that we're all aware, all the needs are on the radar. And that's another good point that Adrian made. Even projects that are submitted to this that aren't selected for funding, because it's not a terribly large pot of money, frankly. And so even projects that aren't selected for funding, having them on the radar, especially these smaller pedestrian safety improvements, sometimes can, when there are extra funds available, those needs can be tackled. And so it's good to have that kind of on our, again, I'm trying to look for a synonym to radar, but radar's all I got right now. So Any other questions about this call for safety projects? Okay. And again, if anything comes up, I know I've got kind of an open line of communication with a couple of you on projects we're looking at. We'll be in touch, but anyone else, feel free to reach out and we'll, do what we need to do to meet next Friday's deadline. Next thing here on the slide, express designs for P9. So again, there's no action for you to take on this. I just wanted to make you aware of something that is changing from P8, which we just submitted projects to, and we will get scores next spring and then go through the local input point assignment that several, maybe most of you are familiar with. That will occur next summer and next fall. But P9, so the year after, we're looking at 2027, when we submit projects for that cycle. Starting then, the prioritization work group and NCDOT have made this update where highway project submittals will require express designs. Now, express designs, that term will be familiar on the DOT side, but locally might not be as familiar, are basically just better kind of a not quite fully preliminary engineering, and DOT, correct me if I'm completely wrong on this, but a method of getting much better cost estimates. That's kind of the main key, and making sure that what is the project that's being suggested is, one, feasible, two, is addressing the need that we are intending to go after. And so again, just making sure, trying to prevent later in the process, if a project gets funded, but turns out, whoa, this actually is going to cost twice what we thought. That just creates a bottleneck and slows down that project, which then slows down other projects, sometimes knocking ones off the list behind it. And that's something that has happened in the past few years that we believe this process will avoid by having better cost estimates, making sure that the projects we're submitting are addressing the needs we're trying to address. So anyway, that being said, obviously one of the first questions with this new requirement is, okay, well, how do we make sure that projects that we're submitting have express designs? And DOT has kind of outlined this process over the next 2 years. There's a feasibility studies unit that will be overseeing these, and they have kind of given a number of, this is how many we can realistically crank out in the next 2 years. That large number has then been divided amongst the divisions and the planning organizations. And so within the next 2 years, the Cape Fear RPO will have an opportunity for 7 express designs. And then we have 3 different checkpoints where they would like us to let them know, here are requests for express designs. The first of those checkpoints being the end of November. So 2 to 3 projects that we would like to request express designs for that do not have up-to-date express designs already. So my question to this group, I don't have right now, because I need to double check our list versus what already has express designs. I apologize for not having that list in front of me at the moment. My strategy for identifying the top ones to request now are a combination of the ones with highest cost. Again, assuming those are going to be the bigger projects, are going to require a little more effort, possibly more time to look at, as well as those that have been given highest priority, both in primarily looking at our P7 local input points. What did this group and the TAC kind of assign highest priority to? For example, just off the top of my head, thinking, NC 211, obviously in Brunswick County. And that's one that, I guess, Elizabeth, confession, I know that I have an outstanding email from Tom on this to make sure we coordinate, which
That's okay.
yeah, terrible that I haven't responded to, and probably worse that I know that I haven't responded to it. How we want to approach express designs for the remaining segment of 211 there in Brunswick County, right at our shared boundary.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, so we'll get together on that.
Yeah. So projects like that, or, some of the projects surrounding, NC 410 in Columbus County, or the intersection at, US 117 and NC 53, kind of on the edge of Burgaw. So again, kind of looking at these higher priority, but also potentially at highest, cost projects. Does anybody have? Yes.
Do all of the P8 projects have express designs? Because, oftentimes if we're not successful with one prioritization, we will put those projects back into the next prioritization round.
Correct.
So will there be some that
There are.
potentially-
There will be some that within the past year or two, have an express design started. I don't want to misspeak, so I'm not going to try to guess which ones I'm thinking might have one started.
I
But
guess the reason I'm asking the question is my concern is that we will have some in P8 right now that don't get funded and they don't have express designs, but the deadline will already have passed for us asking for an express design for them.
correct. So again, I guess that's a good point. The first place I looked for which ones are we going to request express designs for are what we submitted in P8. Because you're correct. And generally, what we submit in a round of prioritization tends to very closely match what we submitted the previous round and whatever we submitted then that didn't get funded. So of those ones that I just listed, those were all P8 submittals.
Mhm.
And so starting there, that being kind of the starting point, what did we submit in P8 that through our project submittal discussions in P8 were pretty clearly top priorities? Definitely, okay, this for sure needs to make the list rather than, maybe a project that we were trying to decide between two and kind of we picked one of them. But yes, picking from among those P8 submittals, double checking which ones have express designs, and then the ones that don't, kind of those being our first request to have express designs done and in place by P9. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah, it does. I just wanted to make sure that that was sort of the thought process that those would,
Right.
be upfront because those by virtue of being in, there's been a lot of people that have, of course, wanted those projects.
Sure. Yes. We're not necessarily pulling out a whole new 7 projects that weren't the ones we submitted in P8 for these express designs. We'll absolutely be starting with that P8 submittal list. Because obviously those are the ones that rose to the top. And we'll make sure that we have express designs because whether they get funded in P8 or not, DOT will want to have express designs on them. So yes, that's where I'm looking first for the request that we'll make to the feasibility studies unit.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. And we'll follow up more on this, as we make preparations for P9 and understanding, okay, what express designs do we have? Which ones don't we have? All across the board, we all realize that, it's very likely we won't have express designs for every single highway project we submit in P9. And that's not going to hang us up. We're going to request as many express designs as we can. And then there's a mechanism in place to essentially make sure that, we've achieved the minimum number required of express designs. And obviously there will be some, maybe not obviously, but likely there will be some that don't have express designs. So that maybe, by prioritization 10, we continue this pattern of requesting express designs to have all of our top projects with express designs. But again, I'll keep you up to date, and you'll get to hear me say express designs more frequently. 2 other updates. the first one, a lot shorter, the multimodal planning grant program. Just wanted to keep this kind of in front of you as an option for agencies that would like to either update their existing bicycle and or pedestrian plans, or don't have one and would like to have one. This is a program that we've pursued with some regularity over the past couple of years. You know, Oak Island and Southport are finishing up plans from this that were awarded 2 years ago. Burgaw and Surf City were recently awarded, and you know, development of their plans will go on throughout 2026. So I don't have a date that IMD, who's the NCDOT department that oversees this program, where those applications will open, but it tends to be at some point in the spring. And so if you are a community that would like to pursue this when the application window opens, just let me know and we can kind of get ahead of the game and prepare for that and be ready for when it opens. But just want that to be on your radar, especially as you move into the early calendar year, as you start to consider budget and things like that. If you'd like to, because there is a local match element of this. But again, just a reminder, if you have interest, follow up with me and we can talk about that. And then lastly, so here at the COG, for those of you who aren't quite as familiar with the outline of the different departments here at the Council of Governments, one of our departments is a workforce development department, and I've been talking to them recently, collaborating even about transportation as a barrier to employment. Obviously, something we see on the transportation side, and on the workforce development side, something they see. I was going to have a representative of their department with a presentation here for this group today, but our schedules didn't line up, and they were unable to make it. However, we're still planning to put together a presentation on this topic for the TAC next week. And so if any of you would like to attend, obviously there is a Zoom option for that, as well as attending here in person to both see that presentation, as well as to hear any discussion that the TAC might have on this. We don't have any proposed action yet. There's no official action coming out of this. This is mostly exploring strategy, opening up this partnership to share information and data, perhaps on a level that we just haven't up to this point of, okay, well, what transportation mechanisms and programs am I aware of? What more specific employment needs, the larger employers or things that the workforce team is aware of? And, is there something in that cross that we can pursue, whether it's pursuing a grant of some sort, an additional type of partnership with our transit agencies, for example. Anyway, just wanted that to be on your radar. And I'll bring back things as we continue to have these discussions, but wanted to let you know that will be something that isn't quite as fleshed out for today's meeting as it will be for the TAC next week, and wanted to let you all know if you would like to attend to hear what discussions may come from that conversation. You are more than welcome to do so. Okay. Any questions on these? I know that was kind of a lot of different things. No? Okay. Moving into other updates. Stephanie, do you have any updates from the ports today?
No update.
Okay. I don't believe Kat is on the line for ferry updates. And I don't have anything else to add. Division 3. Adrian, you said you were given the updates today?
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. And Eric's on the call to add comments if as needed. You can go forward. So right now in our development services, we don't have any projects in the Cape Fear RPO right now in development until, or to be let, I should say, until about mid to late fall of next year. And those are mostly in Pender County. And if you'll just go forward to construction for me, please. So far, I just want to let you guys know that Sandhill, the bridge over Sandhill Creek on NC 133, which is River Road, that is actually open. We do leave the contract open, which is why it's 95%. We leave it open for about 6 months in case there are any for vegetation and any follow-up and last minute checklist items, basically. So that's why that's on there, but that will be dropping. The second project is in Pender County. It's a bridge over Long Creek on 210, and that's 82% complete. It should be completed in April of the following year. So that's on track. And then the next project is Moore Street on 211 over Price Creek. Again, I believe that is open. That's just open. The percentage will be completed when we have the checklist completed. So that may or may not fall off. And then the last project is 5021 along 211. And we're 63%, really about 64% complete with that. And it is on schedule to be completed by the end of 2027, beginning of 2028. I did want to also just mention that the Hampstead bypass projects, so we let the A section, so that's really just still getting kind of kicked off with grading and just some of the basic stuff that we do. That's the A project. The B project is 60% complete and is still on schedule to be completed by the end of 2027. And the next link, please, or page. So these are the project maps. Those are in your or in the agenda package. So you can go through those if you want. Same information, but gives you an idea of where the project is located and basic information. And then we'll go to our last list for you all, which are our maintenance projects. So we do have several maintenance projects. The division as a whole is upgrading ADA ramps. We usually get a little bit of funding and we look for this second round and we look for those needs in each county throughout the division. We also have secondary roads and broadband fiber and just resurfacing, repaving. The last one on this list is in Pender County. It's the bridge preservation over it's just over it's at Surf City, and it's just repairing the lighting along that. We had some delay on that project being let because of needing of materials, but that's all set and moving forward. If anyone has any questions, feel free to follow up with us. We get questions from the public and respond to those all the time. On the next page, you'll see that we do have a map for these maintenance projects that's pretty much up to date, but there's always something that might be added depending on those conversations that we have with the members of the public or elected officials. Feel free to always reach out to Eric and I. Our contact information is in those slides, and hopefully we do have good relationships with everyone on this call, and you're always welcome to give us a call, send us an email, put someone in touch with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. Does anybody have any questions for our Division 3 folks on the call? No? Okay. Well, again, as Adrian said, feel free to reach out to them or to me, and I'll kind of patch you over if you have any questions or any concerns or anything you need. We're all here to help. So next, I know Philip's not here, but I believe Ken is on the call. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, Philip's out today, but I'll be glad to try to take his place and go through the Division 6 and answer any questions you may have. You go to the next one there. Okay, this is our project at NC 11 and 87. This is really the only like midstream active project we have going on is that interchange there. If you drive through there, the area, you will see it actually looks like a real interchange now, it's starting to really take shape. We are on track to finish that one on time. The US 74 project was basically a rehab of US 74 from Whiteville down to just east of Bolton. We are probably about 50% through with this project. We've gotten the first phase of this was to go in and basically reshape US 74 to give it more cross slope to address some wet weather issues, give it better drainage. We've done all that cross slope correction along 74. We're now currently going through and actually putting the final layer of asphalt down. So if we can have some warm weather remain with us until the end of the year, we'll come close to getting this complete. I can't tell you we'll definitely be done, but if we don't finish it this year, we'll jump back on it hard come March when our paving season resumes and knock it out pretty quick in the spring. You got the next one. This is the same type of things with the pavement rehab. There's only a very small section of this. It's in Columbus County. It's basically from the Robinson County line to the project we just completed there at Boardman. So this hasn't even got started yet on that little piece right there. Okay, bridge over Neal's Eddy Road. This is under contract. We anticipate the contract to actually start work after the first of the year. I think in past meetings, the detour for this has been brought up as a matter of discussion. We have coordinated with the school system and with both emergency services. We are aware there's a current detour in Division 3 that impacts this, but their work will be finished before we ever even start this up. So that shouldn't be a problem. Look for this project to really fire up first of the year. Next. Oh, this is in Chadbourne, North Carolina. We were adding pedestrian signals to this location. It is under contract, but it's also lumped in with several other similar pedestrian improvement projects, pedestrian signal projects. So I don't know, I don't have a precise schedule when this work will occur, but it is under contract, and we're moving forward on this one. This is basically just a list of our purchase order contract we have in place for division, either milling, resurfacing type projects or pavement, like a lot of same sort of rumble strips, pavement marking upgrades, that sort of thing. They're at various stages of progress, as you can see there on the page. Our season kind of winds down this time of year for both paving and for pavement marking. Seasonal invitations, we can't do it when it's cold. This kind of work tends to wrap up late November and we pick back up again in March. So there's a little bit of work going on in this realm, but it's mainly going to kind of cease until the spring rolls around. Next. These are some upcoming projects we have. They've not been let yet, but they are things that we are we have designs for and are looking for funding in the near future. Most notably, this will be the 74 work, doing the rest of that rehab work along 74 in Columbus County. Yeah, but no real update on any of those right there. Those are basically future projects that we'd like to do. The R5020A, that is looking to be let in 2028, I believe. The rest of these three are they're out there pretty good.
Okay. Okay.
That's what I've got. Again, I would like to let you guys know we do have a new district engineer in Columbus County. His name is Aaron LeBeau. He started 1st of October. And Division 3 folks will know him. He actually came from Division 3. And we kind of stole him from Division Three, but he's our new district engineer and look forward to working with him. And again, if you guys ain't have any questions, feel free to reach out to him, Philip, or myself.
Good deal. Appreciate it, Ken. Thanks for hopping on today and helping walk through these updates. Does anybody have any questions for Ken at this time? Okay, seeing none. We'll keep on rolling. But again, thanks, Ken. And I believe Aaron is on the call. So welcome, Aaron. Looking forward to having you in the Columbus County Division 6 side of things. Okay, Nazia with TPD updates.
Yeah, so you did a great job of summarizing Columbus County CTP, Sam, so I won't get into that one. And for Pender County CTP, we met on October 6th last, the steering committee did, and we finalized the draft rail and transit network. And that kind of completed all the components of the CTP the steering committee needed to create and review. So we are going to spend the next few months just putting the report together, the mapping, and all the deliverables for internal and steering committee review before we start going out to the public for public involvement sessions and going to all the adopting agencies to present the materials. So it'll be more internal work, but we'll provide an update when all that is ready to this committee. And then also the last thing I had is the Wilmington MPO travel demand model was adopted last month by the Wilmington MPO board while they were adopting their MTP. So that is really great news for us here at TPD. And that's all I had. Thank you.
Good deal. Thanks, Nazia. Does anybody have any questions on any of those items that Nazia had? Don't see anything in the chat. Okay. Next, I don't believe Kim is on the call from IMD. And so just a, reminder of those, bike and ped planning grants that generally the application window for that is in the spring. Keep that on your mind in case your community would like to apply, and we'll work on that. But if I get any other updates from Kim at any point, I'll be sure to pass those along. Greer, you have anything from our friends at the Wilmington MPO?
Hi, everybody. I guess our big update would be that yes, we passed, our MTP was adopted. So we are officially moving away from Cape Fear Navigating Change. Cape Fear Moving Forward 2045, and we are here with Navigating Change 2050. So as Nazia had mentioned, our travel demand model was adopted as a part of that, as well as our Go Coast, our transportation demand management work plan, the short range work plan. So big win for us this month, and then we will be kicking off our second round of public engagement for our Safe Streets and Roads for All comprehensive safety action plan in December. And if anybody has any questions, I'm here.
Good deal. Thanks, Greer. That's good news to hear. What about our other MPO friends on the call? Elizabeth with GSATs.
Well, I'm getting my first introduction to working with LPAs with the DA project. So that has been an eye-opening experience for GSATs because this is our first we've done up there. So besides that, we're plugging along pretty well. I'm really pleased for Wilmington. They got all that adopted and out of the way. We're just getting ready to start on our MTP update. So I'm envious that they are done.
Well, good
deal.
That's
about it.
Awesome. Does anybody on the call have any questions for either MPO, Wilmington or GSATs? None? Okay. And then, yeah, that wraps it up. Anything else on anybody's mind that we didn't cover? I know we kind of bounced around a lot of things today. Any lingering questions or comments before we call it? Okay. Well, in that case, and it was a bit of a longer meeting today, maybe not quite as much. But anyway, thanks for being here today, sticking around. We are adjourned. I hope you have a good rest of your beautiful November Wednesday.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Thanks,
Bye,
Sam.
y'all. Appreciate it.